back, free spirits. Today's guest is not here to play small. She's here to win, and more importantly, to teach the rest of us how to win too. Coach Mikki St. Germain is a powerhouse in leadership, resilience, and peak performance. With 17 years as a seasoned football coach, she's not only dominated on the field, she's become a force off it too.
She's an international speaker and the creator of the Fourth and One Mindset, a game changing approach that pushes athletes, executives, and entire teams to break through limits and achieve champion level success.
Known for her dynamic energy and for turning obstacles into opportunities, Mikki's has led teams to state championships against all odds, proving that grit, strategy, and mindset win both in sports and in life.
Whether she's coaching athletes or Fortune 500 leaders, Mikki delivers high impact strategies that inspire action, foster real resilience, and drive lasting success. She's not afraid to ruffle feathers, defy expectations, or call you out when you're playing it safe. Mikki, welcome to Flying Upstream.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you taking the opportunity to have me as your guest.
Thank you for being here. I want to talk about the framework, the fourth and one, a do or die moment in football sort of mindset. What is it? What is that movement? And, how did you come up with it?
So, in the game of football, and for many of you that do know it, you understand it. But for those of you that don't, the fourth and one moment in a play is crucial because you're either going to go for it and give yourself the first down and give yourself an opportunity to keep the ball, or you're going to give it away. And you've got to make that crucial moment. You cannot stop and hesitate. You just have to go for it. You got 25 seconds to figure it out. And I think in life, a lot of times we hesitate and wait for perfect opportunities and timing to be able to make a choice. And having that fourth and one mindset gives you an opportunity to go, you just got to go for it sometimes, or whatever choice you decide to make, then accept it. And that's what you go with afterwards.
I really appreciate the way that you frame that. And I want to take that into what you've done on the field, leading teams to state championships, for example. But I'm guessing you didn't always have a seat at the boys' table, if you will, when you started. What did you have to unlearn, perhaps, about leadership or the way that you operate in order to lead your way?
Yeah, I started out, I've always loved the game of football. I've loved it since I was age 7. And I was very lucky to have a new dad that introduced me to it. And from that moment on, I was like, that's what I want to do. And during that time frame, it was very difficult for women and females to get into the game of football. And we still have challenges and we're still trying to break that glass ceiling. However, when I wanted it so badly. I mean, I started out as a teen mom, and then as my son evolved and kept going through the Pop Warner and the youth level, I lucked out because a lot of times they didn't have enough coaches. So I take on a role as an offensive coordinator or maybe defense, and then I got an opportunity to go in and head coach. But what I had to do is I had to realize that this was not going to be an easy journey and I was going to have to do a lot of things to get there and not have any expectations that it was going to happen overnight, but still hold on to that passion for something that I loved.
I appreciate that you mentioned that you did not have an expectation that it's going to happen overnight because that mentality alone, I feel like can get us stuck into thinking that we're never going to get it. We're never going to achieve that goal. We're never going to get to where we want to go. The reality is, like you said, is that awareness that you had where you're like, yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, and really taking the opportunities that did land on your lap when there weren't enough coaches, etc. I appreciate that so much. And I love that you mentioned breaking the glass ceiling because sports and women, when I think of sports, I don't generally think of women leading any teams, never mind, being the ones who are leading the teams. And so I'm wondering for you, what was the moment where you, even though you had this desire, I'm gonna pause. Even though you had this desire to lead and be, a coach, what kind of kept you going when it didn't just happen for you overnight? What was the thing that made you believe and know that you were going to get there, where you were going to be the one calling the shots and making sure that the team performed how you wanted them to perform?
Just waiting. You keep doing what you know you can do. You keep doing the steps, and you just have to know within every fiber of your being, your time's going to come. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be right away, but it will happen as long as you keep driving forward. And I think that's like with anything in life. If you really want something bad enough, you will wait and be patient to be able to get that. That's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you want something so badly and you're like, well, when is my time? But as long as you're doing all the right things and you keep evolving and you keep learning and growing and knowing that when that opportunity comes, you can step into that field and know with your whole heart that you're ready to go because you prepared for it. And preparation is going to be the most important thing that you can do no matter what it is. And learning to evolve and grow. And every even just one little step every single day is going to compound over time to bring you to the greater goal and get you to your end zone.
I love that you say kind of sticking with it, that your time will come. And if you truly want something enough, you stick with it and you just keep going with it. And I want to loop that into what you say, which is good enough is not enough. So as you've gone through your journey, you didn't want to just be good enough. You didn't want to just stop where you were at any point. You kept going because you had this goal in mind of what you wanted to do and where you wanted to be. What helped you maintain that motivation and that perseverance, determination along the way, right? Because I know there's a lot of people that want to be millionaires. They want to own an island, right? That sounds lovely, but I'm not gonna personally. I'm not gonna stop at nothing to own an island. So there's a lot of things that go along the way to keep you in that mindset of good enough is not enough. And what is that for you?
What's your why? Why do you want it? Why do you want the island? Why do you do what you do? Why did I choose to coach football? And as you can see the pictures behind me, I mean, these are just some of them. That's my why. I know I get an opportunity to change somebody's life. I know that when I work with these kids, it's not just teaching them the game of football, it's being a mentor, it's being someone that can help them take tools that will get them through their life. The moment they put their helmet down and turn in the uniform, they can take those skills and use them somewhere off the field later on in life. My why is always to what's the difference you can make, and I think knowing that and always keeping that in the forefront of your mind and never allowing anybody to take that away from you is going to be the most valuable thing you will ever have, because that's what's going to get you to the very end of what you're looking to accomplish.
And I want to get, because it's so powerful what you're saying. And I have two things that came up when you were saying that, because your why is what's going to get you wherever you want to go, whether that's, on to the field and being the head coach, in a men's sport, or whether that's owning an island. That why is imperative. How did you how did you figure out that shaping the lives of youth and of these young men that you get to impact on the court, how did you know that that's what made your heart go, that that's what got you up in the morning, that that's what would keep you going every single time?
You know, when you work with individuals, I don't care what profession it is, you're going to deal with a lot of different personalities. You're going to deal with a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes. And one of the things I've learned as a coach stepping on the field, these kids are going through, some of them may be going through something, some of them may not have good family lives, maybe there's something they're struggling with. I've seen it all. And knowing that you have an opportunity to be there for them when they don't have anybody else, and then and really, I've gotten letters from a lot of my players, even from after they've gone away to college. I still get phone calls. I still get calls from kids from 10 years ago that go, Coach, I'm struggling with something. Can you meet me for coffee? I'm like, absolutely. And you know, if somebody's reaching out to you 10 years later, you've done the right thing, you've made a difference. And hitting the ground running for something that you really love, you have to feel it in here. You have to know this is what makes my heart sing. And no matter what it is, whether it's your business, whether it's what you're doing, whether it's something for yourself, if you know that when you wake up and you want to hit the ground running and you still look at it with a smile on your face, you're in the right direction. You're doing the right thing. And that's when you become unstoppable because no one can take that away from you as long as you hold that close to your heart.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And as you've explained your own journey, and something that you have said is that everything you need to be unstoppable is already within you. And I can see that is true from your journey. What do you think keeps most people from unlocking that and being able to pursue their true passion in the way that you have?
It's getting stuck or waiting for the right moment. And I've learned this. I've learned this over the years. Sometimes I think we wait for everything to be perfect. We wait for the right moment, or we're listening to somebody telling you you can't do it. And unfortunately, a lot of times we let other people's opinions become our reality instead of waking up and go, not, I'm not maybe not waking up. That's not a good choice of words. I would say looking at it internally and saying, is that true? You know, why wouldn't I do it? Why isn't this acceptable? And if I listened to every single time somebody told me you're a football coach, why? You know, or no, you know, you can't do this. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I have to be able to every day sometimes struggle with these things coming at me, but I don't allow them to penetrate. I do not allow it to take away from what I want to do. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that, and it's fear. They're afraid of what if I fail? What if it doesn't happen? What if this happens? I can tell you right now. Let me let you in on a secret. There's always going to be failure. Everybody fails. You know, we are human. There's not one person on this planet that has tried something and it didn't work. So don't allow that to be something that you hold on to and make that reason why you don't start something. And I always tell my guys, there is no failures. There is winning and learning. There's not winning and losing. There's winning and learning. And when you learn from things that didn't work, that's your power. It really is because now you know what not to do. So look at the things that you need to do to be able to move forward.
I love that. That's so important because I think a lot of this has been romanticized when you watch the movies, the Disney, the TV shows that make you believe that there's going to be this moment that there's this idea or this enlightenment or this opportunity that's going to come and it's going to be right in your face and you're going to know, but that's not how that works. So thank you so much for your perspective on that. You mentioned something earlier that I kind of want to go back to. You mentioned dealing with the decision that you've made. Like, how do you teach that? How do you teach someone? Because in life, that's hard. Forgiveness of yourself for the decisions that we make in our own life can be really hard. Forgiveness to others for the decisions that they made that maybe made us lose the game or put us in a bad situation in life is also hard. How do you teach that?
You know, we all deal with something that maybe that we remember or that has touched us deeply that may be hurtful, or maybe something is said that we kind of internalize and take it. And what I've learned over the years, and again, I share my experience, is that failure and fear and things that happen to us, we use them as F words. But what if we replace it as feedback? What if it was something where instead of all this stuff takes us and we internalize it and take it and it becomes this difficult thing to process and deal with and like you said, maybe forgive or get over. We never get over stuff, we get through it. And when you're working on doing that, you take the elements that you can use to build on And that's what you build your solid foundation for yourself. And I'll give you an example. I dealt with a coach one season who was just not having it as a coach. He didn't like me. He didn't want me there. The things that were said to me, it was really difficult to coach that year. The good news is I had great kids. I love what I was doing, like I always, I said. And it just got to the point where I lost it. I mean, I totally lost it. I let my emotions get to the best of me. And then I realized, wait a minute, why am I allowing someone else's actions to affect me the way that they do? You're not responsible for other people's actions, you're only responsible for your own. So when you have things that are happening like this, take it, learn from it, take the feedback, take what you need, leave the rest, and realize you're not going to change their point of view. You're not going to be able to change what they think, and you're not going to be able to change who they are. You're only responsible for yourself and your actions and your own thoughts. And I think if anybody can take away something from that, that would be a solid piece of information I would offer.
I really appreciate the way that you framed that because, of course, anybody doing anything in life will come up against obstacles, difficult people. This is just part of life. And I'm curious for you, what's your perspective on how important community and support is when you're on your own journey to achieving your goal, whatever that may be?
It's like a team. It's very important. And when you have got a team of people that are on the same path as you, and maybe even if they're not on the exact same path, but they have the same mindset, they have the same enthusiasm, they'll support you. Having that is one of the biggest things you can have. And in taking it from the field, I've watched teams that were together as a camaraderie and a brotherhood in a group. And my best team I ever had, I had 17 guys that had to play a full season, both sides. And they came together as brothers. We're still a tight knit family. We still talk to each other. And then I've been on teams that have had extremely talented players and a lot of guys and people that and a lot of coaches. And I've seen it, but we've never come together. And our season was, losses. We go, 3-7. And the reason is wasn't the talent. It wasn't because of what we knew what to do. It's because we never came together. We didn't support each other. Having the people that you surround yourself with is one of the most important things you can do. And with that being said, there's going to be one of these times that are going to be difficult where you're going to have to weed out the ones that don't serve you and the ones that are not supporting you. And the only thing I can suggest in that is take them in small doses and only make yourself available for those that are going to lift you up and help you achieve that goal and be on that journey with you that's going to help you succeed.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate that. As we begin to wrap up, because this has been an amazing episode, really enlightening, I have two things I want. Looks like one of the people on the chat have a question that kind of comes into play and sort of doesn't. I know it's a popular one that comes up, but do you think girls deserve equal pay? And I suppose they're referring to in the world of sports, since that's what we're talking about. What is your opinion on that?
I think everybody deserves equal pay. I think if you are doing your job and you are doing the same job that everybody else is doing, then everybody who's doing that job deserves to be paid the equal amount.
I love that. That's a great answer. And I think as we begin to wrap up, thank you for answering that for our listener. I appreciate it. But
Sure.
as we begin to wrap up, I wonder, Mikki, when the lights are off, when the scoreboard is cleared and no one's chanting your name, who are you? Who is Mikki?
Oh, I've had those moments, and I remember standing in the middle of the 50-yard line after our game was over and done, and I said, you know what, I I did everything I could do to make a difference that someone can walk away with, and I was like, this is good. This is good. And if I can walk in the door after a practice, a game, and feel good and know that there's something good came out of that day, I can sleep well that night.
I love that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mickey, so much for being on our episode today. So inspiring. And I just really appreciate your perspective on not just football, but on life. And if today's episode sparked something for you, our free spirits out there, if you felt yourself clenching your jaw or sitting up a little straighter, then pay attention. That's your inner power waking up.
That's right. And Coach Mickey doesn't just coach for the field, she coaches for life because success isn't just about talent, it's about deciding that you are not done yet.